Good evening, Pudala.
Good evening, sir.
Can you all hear me? No power. Just confirm you all can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you?
All right. Okay. So looks like many students are also facing the same thing. So we can see the number of students who have logged in are a little less today. Anyway, yeah, this meeting is being live streamed. So you guys don't worry. In our class, we give you all recordings, tunes and everything. So you can always catch up if you miss. But it doesn't mean that you should miss. You should try your best to attend because nothing feels like a real time conversation, right? Clearing your doubts and these things, real time. Nothing feels like that. I also just got power. Okay, but all right. So it is what it is, We're expecting power around 9:10. So we have to do the class for like 1 more hour so that I can get power. It's okay anyway. I have no problem. I haven't fixed my inverter to the main line yet. I'm not planning to. Right now, I'm running it with with an extension code, so I can run my fan, laptop, and a TikTok light. That's all I'm running with this. Okay, all right. Yeah, because I have no plans to fix it to the mains because it might get overloaded, accidentally switching on the fridge or this stuff, sometimes can create problems. So I don't want any problem. Right now, my focus is to do work during power cuts. So I'm just running the inverter with the minimum load, right? That's what I'm doing right now. Okay with it. So today we have a lot of things to talk about, right? Today is the last week of April. So next week is our 5th month. So hopefully we're expecting your exam to be held. Some people say it's in February or something like that, but so far they haven't announced. So we are targeting for December. Okay, we will do all our work targeting for December. We are already on a very good position in terms of covering the syllabus. We have already covered 3 units, and February. So we have already covered 3 units, and also we have discussed a lot of past paper questions from those 3 units as well. And from time to time, we are doing map marking. So our plan is going really well. We are also allocating some time to map marking. World map marking, we already finished discussing. We only have to revise from time to time the things that we learn. And Sri Lankan map marking, slowly, that lesson is going on separately in grade 10 class. I have given you access to our grade 10 class as well. So there's nothing to worry. But in this class also, those who can't come to our grade 10 class, in this class also, we'll be revising those things that we learned last year, right? That's the plan. On top of that, we have picture remembering as well. So it can wait a little bit. We'll be starting that in July, August, something like that, right? So don't worry, don't rush it. So don't force it, let it go, let it flow smooth. But what I'm expecting from your side is right now answering questions, especially when we do past papers, you have to do them and also try to answer past paper questions from the units that we have discussed so far. This is a must because I cannot discuss each and every past paper questions in the class. It's not practical. But we will select the very important ones and discuss. Obviously, this is really important, guys. At the same time, you also have your own part to play, right? This is what you need to understand as O-level students. You have your own role to play. So at this, like you are answering past papers, like we give you model questions as well. It can wait a little bit. Right now, we are focused on covering the theory parts. So gradually, you have to also work on those things. Otherwise, you will not develop the ability to write an answer to an essay question. This is the most important thing in your paper, right? Answering essay questions. Many students They lose a lot of marks just because they don't know how to organize an answer to an essay question. If you came to our grade 10 class yesterday, yesterday was all about how to organize an answer to an essay question. So if you can attend the grade 10 class, please do, right? It's free of charge. Okay, you have to only pay for your grade 11 class, and grade 10 class is totally free. I will also be uploading the grade 10's link in your Google Drive soon. I will give you access to that folder as well next month. So let it flow that way. Okay, let it go. I mean, whenever you are able to come to the grade 10 class, then it's gonna be easy on you, right? Okay. And the next thing is, you need to understand today how to work for your O-levels, right? You have to work starting now itself, because if you stay until the last 3 months or last 2 months, anything can happen. Okay, now you know what happened to our students who are planning to sit. I mean, who are planning to sit for the exam in May. They thought everything will be fine, and they kept postponing. I'm not telling everyone. Many of the students, they kept postponing. Okay, the exam is in May, so we gave you 6 months extra. So these guys started postponing everything. Now they are complaining that there's no power. Okay, power cuts for 6 hours, 7 hours. Now these days, like 3 hours, 4 hours, right? They can't do their work because anything can happen, right? So because of that, you have to be prepared early. අර සිංහලෙන් කතාවක් තියෙනවා මේක ලස්සනයි. සිංහලෙන් කතාවක් තියෙනවා අපායට ගියත් කලින් යන්න. Even if you go to hell, you have to go first. There might be a chance. Okay, just because you are on time, right? You are punctual. Okay, because you have discipline. එතකොට යමපල්ලා අර අපායේනේ යමපල්ලා also will have mercy on you. You know, because okay, this guy at least came early, right? So we need to respect this guy's, punctuality. So it's something like that. It's just a saying. So monoa karat, whatever you do, you have to do it. You don't wait until the last moment. Okay. Yeah, this is one of the main Sri Lankan people's, shortcomings. We always, even when I was at school, we waited until the last moment to do everything. Last moment when you start doing it, right? I mean, okay, you are waiting until last moment. Waiting until the last day. Tomorrow is the submission day, let's say homework or whatever it is. You wait until today, just before you go to bed, you just start your work, right? Then all of a sudden there's a blackout, power cut, and you cannot do it. Then you go to school and just, with your lamey excuses, hundreds of them, like traffic and power cut and okay, blah blah, and my grandmother passed away, our grandmother is sick, and these type of lamey excuses, right? Don't bring those. Okay, yeah, even the president is like that. He's also giving excuses. No, it's not my fault, it's COVID-19, it's the previous government who didn't build any power plants, that's why we have to basically cut power, and there's no dollars. People are at fault, people are not sending dollars to Sri Lanka. That's why the people are protesting, so tourists are not coming because of those protests. It's all excuses. Every day we have been hearing so many excuses. So same like that, you guys also, if I ask you, why didn't you send me Pute, why didn't you send me the send me through WhatsApp the homework I gave? Sir, I didn't have power, sir, I have this problem, sir, I had another class, sir, I had this problem, sir, that problem. So you are blaming another person that he is giving you excuses. By the end of the day, we are the people who is giving the most number of excuses. So this practice, this trend should change. Okay, then only we can expect our country to be great again, right? Great again by making it great again. I mean, we were a very great country before. We were one of the greatest countries in the region before, right? We learned, that's why we are learning here. So how can we go back and get that old glory back, lost glory? The only way is people need to change. People need to change. Then everybody will start changing. We can change the parliament, we can change the prime minister, we can change the president. We can basically change the system. Before you change any system, you need to change. Without you changing, there won't be any system change. So because of that, you have to do your part first. Okay. So first things first, and while working hard, I have been telling you all this time, while working hard, there's also one more thing, that is to work smart. Okay. So you should know what you are doing, basically. So whenever you do something, you can do like, for example, you play cricket. Okay. You can practice 24 hours a day. No problem. Nobody will stop you. You go practice 24 hours a day. But girls are playing. Girls love netball, right? So girls, you bring that ring and then, 24 hours a day. Okay. That's hard work, right? We really appreciate. So, but it doesn't mean that you can become skilled, or you are going to be one of the best cricketer or netball player, whatever, right? It can't happen like that. Hard work is good. It can make you better, but it doesn't mean that hard work by itself is going to take you to the next level. Okay. You have to be smart as well at the same time. That means you should know what you are doing. Okay. You should know what you are doing. For example, you practice cricket 24 hours a day, but if you see like, okay, what I'm going to do, you're going to plan it, right? I'm weak in these areas. Okay. I'm weak in the pull shot. I can't face the bouncers. So I'm going to focus more on playing the bouncers. Okay. Then a netball player, for example, our girls, okay, I'm weak in shooting. So I'm going to practice more on shooting. Or I have a weak pass. So I'm going to work on my pass so that my pass is very fast and quick, and the others cannot see when I pass, right? So these things, okay, that's called smart. So you improve your game like that. Okay, this is just a small example that I took. So you work on your weak areas first, then you bring new things, new techniques and everything, and make strong your strong areas. That is how you prepare basically for a competition, for a contest, for a tournament, whatever it is. Now your tournament right now is the World Cup. That's coming for some of you next month, and for some of you maybe in December or February next year, right? So that's the World Cup. That's the ultimate goal. So you have to prepare now itself. Working hard is very important. At the same time, you should know what you are doing, and you should know your weak areas. You should know what areas to focus on. So with minimum effort, you can get maximum results. Okay, you can get like, it's like this. This guy cricketer, who retired recently, Tisara Pereira. This guy Tisara Pereira, when the bowlers are bowling, right? This guy puts all his weight, like Gahano Kyanne. It's like, you just put all your weight and whack the ball. But the ball goes, up at the same place, caught by the bowler himself, right? Like that. Okay, that is working hard. Sometimes, you don't know what is the meaning of smart. You don't know how to manage your energy better. So guys like, Kumar Sangakkara, Virat Kohli, Mahela Jayawardene, when they play, you see the technique and everything. When they play with the minimum effort, it just touch the ball, then it goes to the boundary, goes to the six. Just, a gentle touch. That's it. So the minimum effort, maximum result. So this is what you need to focus on. At the same time, you have other works to do as well, like the other subjects to focus on. History is one of the main subjects. Of course, yes, one of the main 6 subjects. True. But at the same time, you have also other subjects like important subjects like maths and science and everything to focus on. So to manage your time better and everything, I recommend you focus on the weak areas first, get them done, get them sorted out. Then you have more time to focus on your other important stuff, right? So prioritize your work. Okay. We'll learn about time management and everything later. For grade O-level students, this time I have taught you how to manage time. But for you, it's too early. For the guys who are sitting for the exam in December or February, it's a little too early. We'll slowly discuss about those world-class techniques on how you manage your studies and everything. Right now, I want to tell you a very special thing before I start today. That is, you should focus on the important subjects, important topics here, right? In this, in your syllabus, okay? So grade 10, yesterday I discussed grade 10. Okay, I will start with grade 10 itself. Question, unit number 1, 2, 3. Then we have 7 and 10. 8 also. You can put 8 also here in the middle, but it's okay anyway. I'm gonna do it like this, right? These 5 units are very, very important. Because you know why? Because they have a relationship. They're like brothers and sisters. Okay. If you don't understand one thing, if you don't understand one unit, it will be difficult for you to understand the other one. So that is why many students have problems. If I ask you, the students who joined our class this year, you might have problems in understanding grade 10 stuff. That's why I'm telling you to come to our grade 10 class for free. Okay, so that you can get them covered. So these units have a very direct relationship. That means like a continuation. Unit number 1, of course, it can stand alone. It can stand alone because we are under unit number 1, we are learning how to learn history. But 2, 3, 7, and 10, okay, they have a very big relationship. Like it's a continuation. So without 2, it's difficult to understand. 3, 7, 10, it goes like that. Because of that, if you are studying history, if your time is limited, focus on these units in a group. Okay, so that you create the flow. You have everything organized in your mind in order. When you don't have everything in order, there's a problem of retrieving them. But the normal recommended procedure is start with unit number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go like that. Okay, there's no running away from the original plan. But if you have to manage your time better, you can focus on this. Then comes unit number, now I didn't mention, it doesn't mean that they are not important. Unit number 4, 5, they are related to unit number 2 again. They can be related to 2 and 3. Okay, both together. There's a relationship, but they can stand alone as well. If you take unit number 5, actually it's an extension of unit number 2. Okay, it's looking at unit number 2 from a different perspective, basically. That is what unit number 5 in grade 10 means. Unit number 8, Candian Kingdom, it's sandwiched between 7 and 10. Unit number 9 can stand alone, that is Renaissance, that's a world history lesson. It can be alone, it can also stay alone. At the same time, unit number 8 can also stay alone, but it's better after unit number 7, you do 8 as well if you have time. So that is how you basically plan. Okay. So for those who are in grade 11, I'm telling you, finish your grade 10 stuff now itself. Why waiting till the last moment? Maybe there will be more power cuts in future. Maybe the situation in the country might get worse. You never know, right? You expect, okay. You hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Okay. We always like to hope for the best. Everything will be okay in 2 months. The country is going to go back to the normal. If it happens, it's good. We are happy. But at the same time, what if it doesn't? What if we went into a deeper crisis? Is it possible? It's possible. April 2021, we never thought 2022 April would be like this. Okay, how things have changed. How much is bus fare? How much do they charge to go by 2 kilometers now? What has happened? How much is gas? Used to be 1,495 at this time last year, right? How much is it today? 4,800. Okay, so what can happen tomorrow? If it becomes better, you accept it. But if it becomes worse, how are you going to face it? So prepare now itself. So that's why I'm telling you, do your work, do your job, right? Do your part now itself. Get yourself prepared for the worst. Worst is yet to come, right? Okay. But we hope for the best. At the same time, we are praying and we are hoping for the best to happen. We need to prepare for the worst. That's why we are taking some time teaching you these techniques and where to focus and how to focus and how to basically get on track, how to basically know what you are doing, right? Otherwise, it's like, it's like a ship without a captain, right? I mean, you don't know where you're going. There's no direction. You just go wherever you go. You just roam like, nomadic people who lived in the prehistoric era. You just roam. Go. When you see an animal, you hunt and eat it. This is not suitable for a modern world like now, right? Everybody's needs and wants are very complex. And it's a very competitive world now. Okay, if you are not prepared, someone else will be, and they will take your place. Okay. Maybe it's a job or anything, business, whatever. Okay, if you are not prepared, someone else will replace you. Okay, so that's why we need to be prepared always. All right, let's come to grade 11 now. I believe that's understood. Grade 11, Pute, again, I'm telling you today because we are starting unit number 4. I want to tell you this very specially. Grade 11, unit number 1 is world history. It can stand alone. it can stay alone. And unit number 2 is basically a continuation, you can say, of unit number 10 of grade 11, grade 10. Unit number 2 here we go. This is the relationship. Okay. Yes. This also has a relationship to unit number 2 in grade 11. Okay. So this is basically a direct continuation of unit number 10 of grade 10. Unit number 2, we just discussed that. And unit number 3, we just finished last week discussing all the past paper questions. Can stand alone, but it is sandwiched between 2 and 4 for a reason. Okay. This can be a bridge between 2 and 4, but not necessarily. It can stand alone. Unit number 3 can stand alone. It doesn't have a very direct relationship to other units. But unit number 2 and 4, you can't forget because it's a continuation. Unit number 2, after unit number 2, it's like a continuation from a different perspective. We are going to discuss in unit number 4. And unit number 5 is a continuation of unit number 4 from a different perspective again. Unit number 6 is basically another continuation. So these 3 that we are going to start from today are the most important units in your syllabus in grade 11. Okay. And also these are very important to understand the current politics in this country, where we got it wrong, why are we here, why there are problems between communities, why some governments have come and are playing with people like this. To understand all these things, we must understand these 3 units. After discussing these 3 units, you will have a very good understanding about what's going on in Sri Lanka, how we came here, and how basically, how we should work to get rid of the current scenario, everything, your ideas will start popping up. Unit number 7 and 8 is about world history again. Unit number 7 is the significant revolutions in the world, like the French Revolution, American Revolution, and the Russian Revolution. How those revolutions shaped the world will be discussed in unit number 7. And unit number 8 is about world wars and conventions. The 2 world wars fought between many countries, and also the conventions that came after that, like the United Nations Organization. Everything will be discussed in unit number 8. Okay, so they all relate to world history. Here, world history, you have 1, 2, 3 Renaissance from grade 10, and unit number 1 Industrial Revolution from grade 11, 4 world history units, and 14 Sri Lankan history units. Okay, we just finished discussing unit number 3, and we start 4, 5, 6. It's a big journey today, so that's why I wanted to give you a very solid motivation and foundation, so we can start. We can get a flying start. We can get a kick start, flying start to this lesson, to the 3 lessons, I would say, from today. Okay, right. So you need to focus a lot on these 3 units, because there will definitely be a lot of questions, especially MCQs and everything, also a written question from these 3 units, right? So that's why we need to focus on these, not only because of the exam, but also to understand the current politics and everything in this country. You need to focus on these 3 units. Okay, this knowledge will never go waste. Even when you grow old, this knowledge will help you in understanding, in basically sharing thoughts and ideas with somebody. These 3 units are gonna come to your rescue. Okay, all right. Okay, Nobode. 1 second. Any questions? Do you think May exams will be easier because the previous government grade 11 exams were easy? If I am making the paper for May exam, I will make the most toughest paper ever, because I'm jealous, We had our exam on December 1st of December. I still remember, 1st of December. They didn't even give me like 3 days in December. So I had to go to the exam 1st of December. By 10th, it was over. 11th. 1st of December, we had to start the exam. You guys got more than 6 months. December, January, February, March, April, May, and more than half of May. So that's like, how many? 6.5 months plus. Okay, you think I will give you an easy paper? Yeah. Where are you from? Tell me. Are you from Sri Lanka or some other country? So do you think I will give you an easy paper? No, but we can't expect something like that. But with the current situation, sometimes they might give you an easy paper. End of the day, why are you expecting? Why are you expecting the mercy of others when you can work hard and work smart, and we have all the tools? I'm giving you all the knowledge, and why are you so worried about that? We are preparing you to face the worst paper ever, the hardest paper. So everything is gonna be like easy after that, right? Okay, we are preparing you. Don't worry. Uh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's building up the confidence is one part of it. Yes, exactly. We need motivation. We need to build confidence. We need to know what we are doing. Basically, we need to know what you are doing. Okay. Just like blindly you swing shot again. You close your eyes and you hit it. If it hits the bat, it will go for 6 because he's got power. If it doesn't hit, basically he's out. If it doesn't connect the bat, right? We don't have to be like that. We should know what we are doing. We should know where the fielders are. We should know how much power you should put to the shot and how to get maximum result. That is called playing smart. Okay, not just that's the hardest that you can. Right. So let me share the tube with you for lesson number 4. One second, please. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
So here we are going to talk about the political changes in Sri Lanka under the British. Let me go back for a few minutes to unit number 2, right? Before I start on this lesson. Okay. Now in unit number 2, you learned about the establishment of British power in Sri Lanka. How the British came to this country, how they established themselves by kicking the Dutch out in the coastal areas, how they basically tried to capture Candian Kingdom and failed. Then after that, through a tactful policy, by bringing people like John Doyle, they managed to capture Candian Kingdom in 1815. And what kind of events they faced after that, like the 1818 Battle for Freedom and 1848 battles for freedom. We learned about the reasons that led to those battles and also the aftermath or the results of those battles and people who got involved in those battles in unit number 2, right? Here we are going to discuss a few things in a different perspective. A perspective is looking at things from an angle, right? Now we are going to look at certain things from a different angle. Now in unit number 2, we were more looking at these things from a more military angle, like the fights. We were talking about the invasions and the struggles for freedom, military side of it. Here we are going to talk about these things from a political angle. Okay, what happened after the British captured our country? What political changes that happened? We are going to look at it from a political angle, right? Unit number 5, we are going to look at it from an even different angle. I will come to that later. I don't want to confuse you with what's there in unit number 5. Okay. Right now we'll focus on unit number 4. That is the political changes that took place in Sri Lanka under the British. Several political changes took place in Sri Lanka under the British. I'm going to list the years now. No need to remember the years, but if you're good with numbers, why don't you give it a try, right? Several political changes happened in Sri Lanka under the British. I will come why they happened, who are responsible, what made them happen, and everything we'll learn step by step. Okay, this unit, I told you, we will take a little time discussing this unit because this is the foundation for unit number 5 and 6. And also, this is one of the most important units in grade level. Okay. So the first political change, Pute, now you know the British captured this country in 1815. The first political changes they brought to Sri Lanka happened in 1833. Okay. Then it took like 77 more years for another significant political change to happen in the country. That happened in 1910. Okay. Then after that, there were political changes in very close gaps, like 1920. There was another change in 1924, 1931, 1945. 47, you can say. 45 is, yeah, you can say 47. 45, it's okay. Then 1948, we got independence from the British government, basically empire. We got independent. We became an independent country. What happened after that is in lesson number 6. We discussed that separately. Okay. Here we are going to talk about some changes that took place between the British occupation, within the British occupation, 1833, 1910, 1920, 24, 31, and a little bit of what happened in 45, 47. Okay, right? So this is what we are going to discuss in this lesson. Okay, to name them, I want all of you to remember these names. And first, before learning anything, we'll just have a look at what it looks like, what this lesson is about, and what kind of things we have to learn in this lesson. Okay, what is there inside this lesson? So these are the names of the reforms. Like I just mentioned, several changes took place. Now 1815 is before 1833. I mentioned that in the whiteboard that I shared with you guys. So here we have the names of those reforms that took place under the British. Reforms means changes. Okay. Political reforms means political changes. So reform is another synonym for change. Right. In 1833, we got Coldbrook Reforms. This was introduced by the British. Why they were introduced, we'll learn later. We'll learn in detail. We also learned a little bit in unit number 2 under the reasons for the 1848 battle. But here we will be looking at them in another angle, comprehensively, okay, in detail, right? So Coldbrook Reforms is also called the Coldbrook Cameron Reforms, right? Then in 1910, we had the Crewe-McCallum Constitution. Crewe-McCallum Constitution in 1910. What happened in that constitution? What changes were introduced through that constitution? We'll discuss later. 1920, we had the Manning Constitutional Reforms. 1924, we had the Constitutional Reforms of 1924. Or you can also name it as the Manning Devonshire Constitutional Reforms. Okay, I'm going to write it here for your reference. Manning, Devonshire. These are all names of who? People, okay? People who worked or people who basically introduced these reforms. So these are all named after people who introduced these reforms, okay? Manning, Devonshire Constitutional Reforms. Then in most of these people are governors of Sri Lanka, or people who were brought from Britain to work on introducing these changes, to study about Sri Lankan economy or politics and introduce these changes. Some of them are secretaries of the colonies that actually, basically who dealt with the British government on behalf of our governments, our Sri Lanka, India, and these countries, they became colonies. So there were secretaries of colonies who dealt with the British government on behalf of us. So their names are also here. Don't go too deep into it, but just a general understanding about how these names are coming and where these are coming from. I wanted to give you a general idea about that. Okay. So 1931, we had the Donamo Constitution. 1945, Salisbury Constitution. Salisbury Constitution became active in 1947 with the first election. with the first parliamentary election that was held in 1947. Okay, so Salisbury Constitution was introduced in, you can say, 1945, but came into effect in 1947, right? So 1948 we had the independence. Look at it for like a 2 minutes and try if you can remember the list. Okay, try if you can remember the list, and let's go for a quick activity. If you guys can list them out, if you can remember at least a few of them by looking at this will greatly help you in organizing your memory about all these constitutions. So that's why I wanted to show a summary of all the changes first and come to the lesson next. So can we take like a couple of minutes looking at this, and let's go for a whiteboard or maybe your book or whatever it is, and try to write them with the years. With the years, you can remember. Let's try it now. Who's ready? All right. Okay, Sanudu, start. I will give you the yes. Okay, no need yes. Okay, start with the yes. Okay, whiteboard is yours. Anybody can contribute. Okay, no problem. Not only Sanudu. Sanudu said he's ready. That's why I gave him the first opportunity. Can you guys annotate on this? Yeah. With the year, please, if possible. Year is not a must to remember, but it's better if you can remember, because it makes everything else easy. You're not good with numbers. Okay, 1833. Yeah. Okay, somebody can help Sanuda with the yes. Yes. Nivra, you can help. Yeah. You can write with it. Whiteboard is yours. I'm just watching. Very good. Crew McCallum. You can also call it McCallum Constitution. McCallum Constitution or Crew McCallum. Okay. Yeah. Crew McCallum Reforms. 1920, what constitution? Manning Constitution, okay? Yeah, Manning, you can name them differently, okay? You can call them Manning Constitutional Reforms, or you can call it Manning Constitution. Both are correct, okay? Both are same, both are correct. Donomo Constitution. Okay, there's one in between Manning and Donomo. What is that? Yes, 1924. Yeah, Constitutional Reforms of 1924. You can also call it Manning Devonshire Constitution. Very good. Dinath, well done, brother. Solberry, yeah, Solberry. S-O-U-L. Solberry. Okay. Anyway, you can remember, yes. But after, no need to no need to try to use shortcuts to remember. This is not a big deal. I mean, once you are working with this, you will automatically remember. Okay, when we start explaining these things and everything, you'll automatically remember. But I just wanted to give it a try and see if you guys can remember. Okay. Yeah. So this is 1924, Dinath. Okay, this one. Not 1824, 1910, and here you have put 1810 and 19. Huh? Yes. I'm correcting for you. I believe everybody have a small idea about this now. Yeah, a general idea about what we are talking here right now. Okay. Now let's move on with the lesson. Okay. We are not there yet. The real lesson didn't start yet. Okay. Right. Then here we are talking about political changes. Now this whole list that we just tried to remember are the political changes that were introduced by the British from time to time. Okay. Apart from that, there were also other movements by Sri Lankans aimed at fulfilling or basically winning different goals. They are not only political goals sometimes, they are also sometimes religious or cultural goals. Okay. For example, there was a movement called the Temperance Movement aimed at liberating the Sri Lankan people from alcoholism. We discussed this in unit number 3. That's a very significant movement in Sri Lankan history under the British. And Ceylon National Congress was another political movement in bringing all the people who worked for the Renaissance together and form one force so that the force can be very, very strong. And we can push for more political reforms using that force. We can push the British government to give us more freedom by using the force. That was the aim of the Ceylon National Congress. Suryamal Movement was another movement aimed at welfare of Sri Lankan poor people. Okay, Suryamal Movement. We come to that step by step later. So this one I wanted it to separate. I wanted to separately discuss these movements, which are significant movements by Sri Lankans. And these are the political changes that took place under the British at a glance. All the political changes are here, right? Okay. Now, before I start with Coldbrook Reforms, I want to tell you one thing. Coldbrook reforms were introduced mainly because of an economic crisis that we were facing after 1850. Okay, what is the economic crisis? I come to that next. But all the other changes, all these except Coldbrook, were introduced because Sri Lankan people were pushing for freedom. Sri Lankan people were organizing movements and pushing the British government so that we can win our freedom or more rights, not economic stuff. Okay, but Coldbrook reforms were introduced in 1833 purely because of an economic issue that we had, like we are facing right now. Okay, right. So all the others had a different purpose. Because of a different reason they were introduced. Because of the struggle by Sri Lankan people, the British government had to introduce those, because Sri Lankan people pushed the British government to give more freedom to our people, especially the educated Sri Lankans. But in 1833, why the Coldbrook reforms was introduced is because of another reason. That is an economic reason. It's because we had a financial problem at that time. Okay, so we needed reforms. So we never asked for this. 1833, Sri Lankans never asked for it. The British government gave it because they were finding it difficult to run the country without those reforms. Okay. But all the others, 1910, 1920, 24, we asked for it and we got it. Not exactly what we asked for, but at least we got something. Okay, not exactly why we always wanted freedom, but we didn't get it until 1948. But we got step by step, it was like little by little we started getting what we wanted. Okay, this is what really happened. Is it understood today? That's a small summary of the lesson, right? And let's now come to the 1833 Coldbrook reforms. Now, we were talking about this in unit number 2. The expenses of the British government was greater than the income of the government after 1850. The government cannot function in any country without a proper income. No income, no government. Simple as that. Okay, this is what has happened to this government also. There's no enough income. We can't afford to bring the fuel ships. Can't afford to pay the gas ship that's docked outside the harbor. We can't afford to bring vehicles from Japan, importing. We have put restrictions on those things and everything. Because the expenses of this country is greater than the income. Today also we are facing the same problem after 200 years. Okay, in 1815, after 1815, when the British captured this country, they also had the same problem because Sri Lanka was not generating enough income so that the British can run the country. You have to make roads, you have to pay the government employees, you have to pay the military, their salaries. There's a lot of expenses involved in running a government. So this is the problem they were facing. So they had to act on it. Okay, the British government basically appointed a commission led by William Coldbrook. We called him Coldbrook. So that Coldbrook, please go to this country. This country is becoming a mess and they can't afford to pay their own bills. So Coldbrook, please go and check what's going on, what's wrong with that country, with our colony, which is called Sri Lanka, Ceylon at that time. So Coldbrook was sent here. Okay, he came and he saw that the country is mismanaged, like that's happening today, right? Country is mismanaged. Country has a lot of resources. The country has a lot of lands. The country is divided to too many provinces, too much expenditure on the government's part. Okay, the country doesn't know how to manage their labor force properly. All these things were seen by Coldbrook, and he came in 1829. And after several years of studies, he gave a set of recommendations. He can only recommend, okay, any commission, any commission that can appoint, basically they can't come and tell the governor like, okay, governor, you must do this from today. No, the commission can only recommend, okay, look, there's a problem like this. We studied it, we identified these things, and we recommend these things. Okay, if you like it, you can follow it. If not, you can go to hell. Okay, because right now Sri Lanka has a problem, but income is less than the expenses. Now we are talking about after the period after 1815. Okay, right now also we are facing the same problem. So now now Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa or whoever it is, appointing commissions. Okay, look, economic experts. Okay, can you please suggest something so that we can come out of this problem? Then he's coming. Okay, look, these things. We can suggest these things. IMF and those blah blah, whatever. Then if you want to adopt these recommendations or implement this, do it. If you did this, the country will be better. If you don't do this, everybody can go to hell. That's it, right? Otherwise, you wanna, you wanna stay in power, no problem. The crisis will worsen. It's like that, okay? Nobody wanted to. We didn't want to kick anybody out. We wanted to kick the British government out in 1818, Battle for Freedom. But other than that, Sri Lankans, we didn't try to basically dethrone the British government, but the British government found it really difficult. The British government found it really difficult to manage the country, okay, without money. So no money, no government, okay, no income. There can't be, you can't run a government without an income. That's the issue, right? Right. So Coldbrook was supported by Cameron. Cameron was focused on the judiciary side of it, the court side of it, how to basically run the court system in the country, which is called the judiciary. Coldbrook was focused on bringing political, economic changes to the country. Okay, so they published the report, and the British government decided, okay, these recommendations look really good, so we are going to implement them. The British government decided to implement the recommendations. Implement means putting into action. In 1833, that's why we call this the Coldbrook Reforms of 1833. Okay, right. These are some of the recommendations of the Coldbrook Commission. Some of the recommendations are purely economic in nature. Some of the recommendations are political in nature. Let's learn them one by one now in detail. Okay. Coldbrook said, look, your country has a problem. The governor is making all the decisions. Sometimes those decisions can be wrong. Okay. So it's better we appoint two councils. One is the executive council, where the governor himself also will sit and make decisions. And the other one is the legislative council, which will basically make the law for the country. A council, a meeting of several people comprising of experts who will gather and make good laws for the country so that the country will become developed or country can function smoothly, right? This is what Coldbrook said. For example, let me take a modern day example. Our president, when he came to power, he said, I'm going to go for organic farming, right? Some idiot, put something into his head. So I don't know if it came within his head or some idiot put it into his head, but it's organic farming is good, but you can't do it overnight. Okay. You can't just decide today and you start basically cultivating organic tomorrow. It's not practical, right? But he thought like, okay, I'm going to do it, whatever it takes, I'm going to kill everybody if they go against me, something like that, I'm the executive president, so I'm going to do what I want. So no power from tomorrow. You have to use organic fertilizer from tomorrow. Organic fertilizer means the natural fertilizer, using this, the carbon stuff, the natural plants and those things, the rubbish and those kind of things, right? Not the what do you call chemical fertilizer, specially developed fertilizer. Anyway, they have their both ups and downs, true, but the implementation, the decision to implement that overnight Okay, today I decide, tomorrow I do this. This proved to be a disaster because one man's decision basically took 22 million people, 220 lakhs, 22 million people to basically help, right? Right now we're facing these, the increase of prices on these, what do you call, the vegetables and everything. Vegetable basically, skyrocketed the prices, everything is because one man made a wrong decision. Now then he's coming and telling that I made a wrong decision, sorry about that, I shouldn't have done this, it was a mistake, right? See, if one person who's in charge can make a wrong decision, if he is given with power, if he made a wrong decision, it can have very serious consequences on the whole population, right? So fortunately for the British government, in 1800s, in the 19th century, they had specialists or experts like Coldbrook to recommend that this governor can make stupid decisions. So before he makes any decision, he should consult the experts and he can make the decision, right? This is what the Colebrook Commission said. Colebrook Commission said, establish a council which is called the Executive Council. The governor can sit there, but also the senior officers in the government should sit there as advisors. Like who? Chief Accountant, who's in charge of all the accounts. Chief Surveyor. Surveyor is in charge of all lands and everything, right? Secretary of the Colonies, who's basically dealing with the British government directly. Everybody should sit with the executive, with the governor in the Executive Council and make decisions. Now the governor can make decisions, no problem. But before he can make decisions, he has to ask the others, okay? Because they are experts in their fields, right? So that is the difference between the Executive Council. Coldbrook recommended this as a measure to decrease the governor's power a little bit, because he might make a wrong decision anytime, right? Any decision goes wrong, that will have serious consequences to the whole country. So Coldbrook said, the governor, you can make decisions, but I'm going to suggest an executive council. You are the head of that, no doubt, no problem. Nobody's coming and telling that I'm above you. Everybody is under you. But before you make any decision, please ask the experts. But still you can make it. Still you can agree or disagree, no problem. But better ask them, right? So definitely, if you are not a stupid guy, you will definitely listen to an expert, right? Yeah, somebody's coming, a doctor or an engineer, somebody's coming and advising you on a particular thing, you will definitely listen to it. Okay, is that so? All right, okay, let me consider about that. Yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, this is how an intelligent guy would do. So governor is not a stupid guy, basically. The governors who were appointed by the British Empire, they were not stupid. They were cruel. They were cruel at times of rebellions, true. They declared martial law, killed a lot of people, but they were not stupid, okay? Yeah, they listened to the advisors. They listened to the experts. Then he established the Legislative Council. Then who? Coldbrook said, we are going to establish a Legislative Council, right? So that there will be 15 people in it, and they will get together, sit together and make decisions, make new laws for the country. Okay, they will argue with each other and present new laws to the country. Then if the governor likes it, basically he will sign it, and then we can make it law, right? This is what Coldbrook said. That is the first thing Coldbrook said. This is a political change that happened under Coldbrook Commission. Okay, let's go through the other ones quickly and let's get into details about those things as well. The Coldbrook said, divide the country into 5 provinces. Look, you have like 16, 18 provinces. You have to appoint so many people and pay them salaries to run those 16, 18 provinces. Sri Lanka is a small country. We are ruling India also. We are focusing on India also. We have a lot of area there. Even we don't have people in India like that. I mean, Sri Lanka, 16 provinces for a small country. What is this? Divide it only for 5 provinces, appoint less number of officers, and you can reduce the expenses by having less officers and less provinces in a country. You got it? So the Coldbrook Commission's recommendations were aimed at either increasing the income or reducing the expenses of a country. You can do both, right? If your expenses are more than your income, you can either bring the income down. You can either bring the expenses down. You can cut down on your expenses. You can say bye to Pizza Hut and Domino's that you're going every week or so. You can cut down your expenses and then balance the income. Or you can increase the income. Okay, I'm going Pizza Hut every day. Fine, because I'm going to work full-time, 3 jobs, part-time job also, and side business also. So I will have enough income. So I increase the income, then I can go Pizza Hut every day. But if I don't do that, I have to cut down the expenses. I have to say bye to Pizza Hut, and I have to keep the income steady. You got it? Everybody got the idea?
Yes.
Any questions up to this? Then another recommendation by Coldbrook was discontinuation of the trade monopoly of the government. Now, certain trade or businesses were only done by the government. For example, cinnamon was exported only by the government. Coldbrook said, no, this is not good. Government every day. Now, how will the money come? The government doesn't have money now, right? Because the government's expenses are more than the income. Now, what to do? Coldbrook said, okay, what are you going to do? Your expenses are more than your income. You also don't have another way to increase your income. So better you break the monopoly of you. Like that means the sole power. Monopoly means the only authority to do something. That's called the monopoly. Okay. For example, Sri Lanka right now, the government has the monopoly of importing fuel. Let's say our Minuraputa. Minuraputa is richer than Bill Gates. Is it? Is it true? Yeah. Bill Gates is here. Minura is here. Minura has got money more than Bill Gates. Okay. Now Minura is ready to import. Now Minura can't, Minura can't see these people are waiting in the queues for petrol and diesel, right? Minura is Pichano. Papu Pichano Minura. Yeah, Minura is ready now. Minura is richer than Bill Gates, right? 50 ships. He's going to order 50 ships. Will the government allow you? No. No dollar. The government is saying, $1. People asking, we can import, you guys can't. You keep your dollars, we don't care, but we don't have dollars. We can't import, but we are the only ones who can import. That is called the monopoly. Okay, only the government can do certain things. Even today is like that, certain things. So Coldbrook said, what is this? Break it. Break the monopoly. Invite the private sector. Let them come and do business. So there will be more money coming in. And then you can develop the country. Okay, you can basically stabilize the economy of the country, right? You can bring more money, right? When you have more money, that means more money, more capital is there. That means the economy basically grows. When there's a lot of capital, when there's a lot of money coming in, pumped in to another country's economy, basically the economy grows. Economy grows is like your water tank. You pump more water in, the water tank fills up, right? The level of water goes up. Same like that, when you start pumping money to any country, the economy grows. Okay, simple as that. Okay, then Coldbrook said, look, you have a problem with your expenses and income. Your income is very, very less than the expenses. So you better try to increase your income. How to increase your income? You do more cultivations. Okay, you cultivate more cinnamon, more coffee, cocoa, cinchona, whatever you can. You do that, you export them and get the income, right? To do that, you break the monopoly of the government. You bring people from outside, private investors. You call those people who have money from Great Britain, the British Suddo, yeah, bring them here with their money, let them start their estates, let them buy those lands, let them start their estates, let them start exporting and let them earn money so the country will also grow. Okay. Now there's a big problem here, right? There was something called the compulsory personal service. In Sinhala, we call it the Rajakariya system. Rajakariya system. Under that, every villager, every village man has to work a certain number of days building the tanks of the village, building the roads or repairing the roads of the village, these things. Coldbrook thought, like, okay, all right, now I will suggest the government to bring businessmen from other countries and buy lands in this country and start businesses. Then how will I get people to work in those estates? When somebody from UK, when somebody from Britain came here, spent a lot of money and started an estate, and he doesn't have anybody to work in that estate, has he got to bring people from Britain to work in those? Right? No, right? It's not practical. Okay. For example, you're gonna start a business in India. You have dollars, $10 billion. You are telling Narendra Modi, not Modi, okay, Modi. Yeah. Mr. Modi, I have $10 billion. I'm going to start a business in India, right? Can you help me? Mr. Modi will say, of course, yes, sir. What can I do for you? Right? That's it. $10 billion, right? Big investment. Anyway, then you're going to tell, okay, I'm going to start an estate. So I can't bring people from Sri Lanka or USA, right? Because I have to find people from around that estate so that we can give a little less salary and get the work done easily. Okay? If I bring people from Sri Lanka, I had to give them accommodation, I had to give them transport, I had to give them food and everything, right? Basically, I can't make any profit from my business. So I have to hire your people. So do you have people to work? Then Modi will say, yes, sir. You tell me, sir, I will give you how many people you want. That is what Modi asked, right? Okay, we have people. Okay, we have people to work in your estate, no problem. So you don't have to bring anybody. You just come with the money and we will take care of the rest. So this is the policy, right? The same thing had to happen in Sri Lanka as well in 1833. Okay, Coldbrook said, look, these businessmen are coming, bringing the money, and they can't find people to work. People are not there to work. People are telling, I have Rajakari, I have to work for the Gamsabha, I have to work for building the tanks, I have to work this and that, blah, blah, blah. This is a compulsory service. They will punish me if I didn't go to work and I can't work in your estate. Coldbrook said, no, this is not good. So let's cancel this system. This is called the Gamsabha system, which is also called the compulsory service under Gamsabha. So Coldbrook said, Gamsabha cancel kaladan. Just cancel the Gamsabha so that there's no compulsory service also. Compulsory service was done under Gamsabha, right? Gamsabha means the village council. Cancel the whole thing, free the people, and we can pay them, and basically we can pay them money, we can pay them a wage and get them to work in the estates. So that businessmen will come bringing investment, buying the lands, starting estates, and they will have enough manpower to work in those estates. So that's the main goal of abolishing the compulsory personal service. You got it, Pudha, everybody? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions? Please ask, okay? Right, we'll go to the last one. Expanding English education. Coldbrook said, look, why are we bringing people from Britain, paying them such a big salary and asking them to work for the government? What we can do is, see, Coldbrook's brain, Coldbrook's brain. We need a brain like that right now in Sri Lanka also. Yeah, we need a Coldbrook version 2.0 right now. Coldbrook said, we can train the locals. We can teach them English. We can teach the local wealthy people English. We can hire them to work for the British government. We can save a lot of money. So because we don't have to bring people from Britain to work in the government here, right? We are going to train the local people, Sri Lankans. We are going to teach them English. We'll expand English education in the country. We will teach them English. The resulting educated people can be hired by the government to work for them at a meager salary, basically a normal fraction of a salary. So we can save money by doing that. Okay, this is how Coldbrook thought. So as a result, Royal College in Colombo started. It was called Colombo Academy before. I think it started in 1838 or something. 1830, yeah. After Coldbrook recommended these things, right? So Colombo Academy today is called Royal College in Colombo. Solely focused on educating or providing English education to locals mainly. Okay. So these are of the recommendations of the Coldbrook Commission. Some of them are political, thinking of the politics. Some of them are thinking of the economy. Okay. For example, this is a political recommendation. This is a political change. Right? This is an economic change. Economy. Can you see? Trade monopoly is economy. Abolishing the compulsory service system also economic, but it's also a little social. But you can say economic. Thinking of the economy only, he did that. Then expanding English education again, reducing the expenses again. But it's a, you can say it's a cultural one elsewhere. Okay, because people's education system, everything started changing because everybody wanted to work for the British government, get a good salary, get a high social status. So it's like a social or cultural change as well. Okay, so these are some of the recommendations of the Coldbrook Commission. Did you all understand this, Pude? Any questions from this part? Go for a quick break, 5-minute break, water break, and come back and discuss a little more about the Legislative Council. Okay. No, but the people didn't get angry when the Gam Sabhas were abolished, but there was a practical problem when Gam Sabhas were abolished. You know, like what? Let's say because Gam Sabhas were cancelled, nobody to get the work from like to basically repair a tank, maybe repair a road, maybe. So those days it was easy. So you roster the people. Let's say you have 100 people in the village. You roster, okay, 5 people have to work on this day, 5 people have to work on that day. You put them on a roster. You must work. Then the duties, then the requirements or needs of the villagers are met, right? Normally, when there's a broken tank or broken bridge in the village, people get together and do it. But when the Gam Sabha was cancelled, nobody to do it. The village heads, the village people themselves, or the heads of the village found it really difficult to get the labor because they don't have money also, right, to spend. So they found it really difficult to get those things repaired or done. That is why they got angry. That is one of the main reasons for the 1848 battle for freedom. Okay, 1848 battle. That also one of the reasons. Abolishing of Gam Sabha under the Coldbrook Reforms. Yeah, that's an effect of Coldbrook Reforms. Okay, Budhe, you got it. On the other hand, people also got a benefit. That is, you can work for a salary. Earlier, you had to find your own job or things like that. But later, after Coldbrook said no Gam Sabhas anymore, no duty labor system. So when you work, you get paid. So people can get paid. People don't have to work for free anymore, even for the village. They get paid for it. Okay, that's a good thing on one side. Okay, all right. We'll go for a short break and see you in 5. Okay, we'll continue. Now you can see the Coldbrook reforms of 1833 was mainly aimed at some political changes as well as economic changes. At the same time, if you can think a little logically, you can reason the answers, right? I mean, okay, why the country was divided to 5 provinces? Because it's basically a political change, okay? Because it was aimed at bringing down the expenses, but it's a political change end of the day. But aimed at bringing down the expenses. So you have to think like that, think logically, right? Breaking the monopoly of the government on trade, breaking the trade monopoly of the government. Only the government can do business. So private people can bring more money and the economy can grow. So the gap between the income and expenses can get reduced. Okay. The government can get an income by bringing the private people, by bringing private investors. The government can say, you come, you bring your money, you do your business, you pay our share. And you take whatever you want, no problem, but you pay our share because government is not spending anything. Government doesn't have to spend anything to bring private investors. They only have to open the door. That's it. They will come, they will do whatever they do best, They'll come and they bring the money, they expand the business. The government will just keep their hands tied and watching. And the accounts will be filled with cash from taxes. Okay. So that is how Coldbrook thought. So we really need a Coldbrook 2.0 right now to basically, take this country out of the mess that we are currently in. Okay. Now, this one you can put I will upload the tut in the Google Drive. Please read it slowly, right? Take your time and read it one after the other, one by one. Then you will understand this better. Like I'm just telling you, I'm just explaining everything, but at the same time, you also go take a printout of the tut or whatever it is, right? Some of you are taking printout, some of you maybe are good with reading them on your devices, PCs, I don't care. Whatever it is, you must read the tut in full. Okay. Here, I'm not reading the tut one by one. We are more focused on explaining, right? Trying to logically explain these things to you so that they will be like an injection in your head. Right. Now here, you can see the Legislative Council. How many members are there in the Legislative Council? Yes. How many?
15.
Somebody? 15 members. It's not mentioned here, right? In your book. So this is basically a screenshot from your book I took. It's not mentioned. So let's keep it 15. But the real thing here is you don't have to remember these numbers. What a relief, right? For your O-levels, nobody will ask you how many members were there in the Legislative Council under Coldbrook Commission, which was recommended under Coldbrook. Nobody will ask you that. Okay, how many members, how many official members, yeah, how many unofficial? No. All you need to understand is the key features of this. Okay, key features. I will tell you what those are. See, the Legislative Council, Coldbrook recommended, comprised of 15 members. Now, 15 members are coming and sitting in one place, arguing or discussing about certain things and making decisions and telling the governor, look, we took a decision like this, the governor will agree. So it will be law. It will become law in the country. Okay. It can be law, it can be charging a new tax. It can be helping any business. It can be building roads, can be anything, development activities, those things, right? So Legislative Council is the place where law is made under Coldbrook Reforms. Today, we don't have a Legislative Council. We have a parliament in Sri Lanka with 225 members. That is where the law is made. So same role was played by the Legislative Council back in 1833, right? Now let's see how this Legislative Council was formed. Legislative Council was divided to two categories of people. 9 people were called official members. 6 people were called unofficial members. Nobody will get elected through an election because there was no election system. Okay. So legislative council will be appointed by the governor mainly, right? By the governor. How? There will be 9 official members appointed by the governor based on ex officio. Ex officio means you are already holding a big post in the government and you automatically become qualified to take a seat in the legislative council, and the governor respects it. The governor will decide to select you and nominate you or appoint you as an official member in the legislative council. There were 9 people who came to the legislative council like that. Let me tell you an example from the recent days. You know the army commander, right? Who's the army commander in Sri Lanka? Who's the chief of the army? Yeah, General Shavendra Silva, right? So what is his duty, Pute? What is his duty? What is the duty of the army? Tell me. What is the duty of an army? To provide vaccination to people? Is that the main duty of the army?
Protection.
Provide protection, especially from external threats, internal or external threats to the country. Okay, that's the main thing, right? To country. So protecting the country is the main duty of the army, right? Yeah. Now, yeah. That's misinterpretation of your duties, right? Then that happens, you know. Yeah, then you start protecting families. Yeah. So here the duty of the army, any army in a country, is protecting the people and protecting the country. Okay, from it can be from internal threats or external threats. Internal threats like rebellions, can be different things like riots, rebellions, these things. Terrorist acts can be internal or external, like another country is trying to invade us, like India or China. We have to protect our country. So army will be responsible in doing that. So General Shavendra Silva today has the responsibility of running the army, chief of the army, right? But it is a very big post in the government. Okay, it's a very big post in the government. So because of that, General Shavendra Silva's phone will not be like my phone. It will be ringing all the time. Okay, my phone also rings like very frequently, but you can imagine, you know, I'm nobody, but Shavendra Silva's phone will be like, you know, every minute there's going to be several calls, right, coming to him. Okay, anyway, that is because of the nature of the post that he's holding in the government. It's a high post. So because of that, Pute, he's automatically eligible to sit in other councils or committees as well. Like what? Now, when COVID-19 hit the country, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa decided, okay, I'm going to appoint a presidential task force, because the number of nurses, the number of PHIs, the number of doctors we have in the country is not enough, because COVID is spreading really fast. So I'm going to give some tasks to the other parties as well, like the 3 forces, like the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the police also. Then I'm going to also appoint some people to that task force, so that they can also, they are already good high ranking officers in the government. They can also take on the responsibility of running this operation as well. Like, let's say the vaccination drive for COVID-19. Okay, the army did a great job, right? I mean, doing vaccination. I also got vaccinated through an army like vaccination center. Both the vaccines that I got from the army. So we can see that, right? So based on the position, now if Shavendra Silva is nobody, if Shavendra Silva is like me, the president won't call me and ask me to go and sit there and look into the vaccination drive. No, Shavendra Silva already a high-ranking officer in the government. Because of that, he's qualified, he's suitable, he's got experience. So because of, he's an influential guy, people will listen to him. Because of that, the president decided to appoint him as the head of the presidential task force for COVID prevention and control. COVID-19 control and prevention presidential task force. Same like that, Pute. These high-ranking officials were there those days also, like, you know, these people or the administration sector or whoever it is. The governor decided, the governor of the British government decided 9 people out of those high-ranking officials will be appointed by myself as official members in the Legislative Council. So they will come and sit there. Now, the question, right? Now, who appointed General Shavendra Silva as the head of the presidential task force? The president, okay? The president appointed because he's ex officio, because he's already a high-ranking official in the government, right? Now, who will Shavendra Silva support? The president or the opposition? Yeah. Who will Shavendra Silva support now? Because president only appointed him as the head of the COVID-19 preventing presidential task force. He will always be loyal to the president, right? He will always talk on behalf of the president. For example, I'm telling you, right? Okay. It's normal. That's the procedure. So who appointed you, you will support him, right? For example, now somebody is giving you a high post in a company. So definitely you become loyal to him. That's normal because you got that job because of him. So no matter if he's right or wrong, you just support him. That's what happened with these 9 officers. They were appointed by the governor. They were already high-ranking officials, but they were also asked to sit in the Legislative Council making the law in the country. But they, wherever needed, they took the side of the governor. Okay. So the governor still had a lot of power because 9 out of 15 under you, whatever you say, the 9 people are going to listen to you, right? In the Legislative Council under Coldbrook Reforms, 1833. But there are 6 officers, unofficial, again appointed by the governor, but they are appointed under different circumstances. Like what? 3 Europeans were appointed, mainly businessmen who came to the country bringing a lot of money. They were asked, look, you brought a lot of money, you did a great service to the economy of our country, so come and sit here in the Legislative Council, try to make laws for the country, make good laws for the country so the country can become a developer. Then this is the problem, okay? The governor also decided to appoint people based on communities. One person to represent the Sinhala people, one person to represent the Tamil people, and another person to represent the Burgher people, right? So this is called the divide and rule, right? Divide and rule. So this is the start of, we can say, racism in the country. Okay, like what? You appoint Sinhala people to take care of the Sinhala people's stuff. You appoint Tamil people to take care of the Tamil people. Why can't we appoint a common panel so that they can look after all the people, right? They can look after all the people in the country. But they didn't do like that. They appointed a Sinhala person, Tamil person, and a Burgher person to take care of different communities. A Muslim person, no. Later they appointed. Okay, we'll come to that later. But over here in 1833, no. Right, because Muslim population were very less at that time. Maybe that's why they didn't opt to appoint anybody. Maybe Tamil and Muslim both together or something like that. Anyway, this was the layout. Okay. Now, for example, there are 3 Europeans, basically cultivators or big businessmen who are sitting in the Legislative Council. Let's say one European is telling, okay, I started a big coffee estate. So this coffee estate is in Matale. And it's very difficult to bring coffee from Matale to Colombo. Now the Legislative Council, okay, it's a meeting, right? Like a parliament. Now this European businessman is telling, one businessman out of the 3, telling like, okay, it's very difficult. We don't have a road from Matale to Colombo, right? We can't even reach Kandy from Matale because there's no road really. We have to come through the jungles and, you know, I mean, a lot of our goods are lost. When it's coming, it's very difficult to transport. So this European man is telling, I suggest we build a road from Matale to Colombo and Colombo to, Matale to Kandy and Kandy to Colombo, right? This is the suggestion. What about the other 2 Europeans? Will they agree? Will they agree? Is it a good suggestion? Building a road? Will it improve the economy? Will it make transport easy for the for the plantation sector? Come on, give me some answers. Is it a good suggestion or a bad suggestion? Building a road from Matale to Kandy, Kandy to Colombo.
A good suggestion.
Of course, it's a good suggestion. It's for the country, right? Okay, so other two Europeans also, okay, we also run estates, we also facing the same problem. It's good that you spoke this on the we support that. Okay, now you have three people in support of the idea. The singlist person, what he will say, what will he say? Will he like it? Single person, single representative in the legislative council, will he like it or no? If you are in the legislative council, think like that. Do you support the idea or no? Do you support the idea or no? If yes, tell me why. If no, also tell me why.
I support the idea.
Why? Why do you support that?
Because it's good for the country's economy.
It's our country, right? It's our country. So they're not going to take the roads when they leave, right? So it's going to be there for us. So we also can use, our people can also travel from those roads. So I support it. Okay. What about the Tamil person? He will also support it. The Burgher person, he will also support it. Now you have 6 people supporting the idea. Okay. 6 people supporting the idea. What about these 9 people? Will they support it? They will listen to the governor. Okay. Now the governor will tell, okay, now these 9 people are going to talk to the governor. Okay. There's an idea like this popping out in the legislative council session today. They are planning to make they are suggesting to build a road. Governor said, no, tell no. We don't want roads. No, these people are crazy. Let them go to hell. Right? I don't have the money to allocate to make roads and everything. No, I can't even afford to pay my military salaries. No, these guys want roads. No. Go against it. This is what the governor will say. These 9 people, the governor appointed them and they are ex officio. They already respect the governor. They are like puppets. So 9 people will say, no, we don't agree. That is not feasible. It's not practical. We can't spend a lot of money right now. We don't have money, blah, blah, no dollars, nothing. Then this idea will not become a reality. So that means, even in the legislative council, the governor had a lot of power, a lot of influence, as we call it. Okay, because 9 people were official members. There were only 6 unofficial. So there was a big problem with the balance because it's one-sided. The governor's side always had 9 people and the other side had only 6. So nobody could do any serious development under this. That's the problem. Okay. Then what happened? The Europeans basically started protesting against the British government. Okay. They started protesting. Look, this legislative council is good for nothing because whatever we suggest, it's finally the governor's call. Because when he doesn't like it, nothing passes through this because all the 9 official members, they support the governor. So we need some changes to this because, this is not the way to move forward, though we'll pull out all of our businesses. Okay. So George Wall was a British man who had the backbone to come forward and even challenge the British government. Like, look, we have too much influence from the governor. We are planters. We are estate owners. We can't do our work because nobody is approving our suggestions. So better you change the composition, change the structure of this. Then the British government decided, okay, all right. Then we'll increase the number of unofficial members to 8. We'll include 1 to represent the Muslims. And also we'll include 1 to represent the upcountry Sinhalese. So that this becomes 8. That happened after 1865. Okay. Because Lanka Congress was established by George Wall and started pushing for demands. Okay, started pushing the British government for demands. But still, you can see, unofficial became 8. 1 Muslim added, 1 upcountry Sinhalese added. Still 9 official members. Still the governor had a lot of power. That's about the Legislative Council of the Coldbrook Reforms. Is it understood, Pudhe? Yeah. Now, Executive Council, Executive Council was headed by the governor, but chief accountant, head surveyor, secretary of the colony, they all sat. But before the governor had to make any decision, it was required to ask the other officers' opinions, right? Or advisors. That is why the governor is like now kind of a little restricted, like a check in the chessboard, like check. He's under check, right? Because the governor is not free like a king now, like before. Because any wrong decision made by the governor will have serious economic consequences to the whole country. The British government did not want that. Coldbrook didn't want that. That's why he suggested something like this so that things can function smoothly. Okay, Budhe? Is it understood? Any questions up to this? I have a few questions. Wait. Were all the officials Europeans? Normally, yes. Except the Sinhala Tamil Burger, all are Europeans. Yes, all are Europeans. Because ex officio, mainly Europeans. Europeans only, had high positions in the government. No Sri Lankans were appointed in the high positions in the government. But anyway, even Sri Lankan European, the official members always supported the government. All right. Does every person listen to a person who has higher power? Not really, Pute. Power doesn't mean you have influence. Influence is something different. Okay, even without power, some people have influence, right? For example, Mahanayaka Theros, they might not have power, but they have influence. When they tell something, people listen. Cardinal Malcolm Ramsey, when he says something, people listen, right? So people, it doesn't mean that you need to have power. Sometimes people are respected because of the positions, not only because of power. Some people, even though they have power, they are not respected, right? That is because they don't have influence for them. They have lost their trust. They might have their actions, their words and actions might have lost the trust of the people who are under them. So that's why they lose their respect. Okay. Yeah. That's why. If the officials neglected the decisions of the governor, they will definitely be kicked. Yeah. Because normally it's like this, no? Normally when you appoint somebody, when he is not loyal to you, you will wait for an opportunity to kick him out at the first place, right? That's normal. I appointed this guy so that this guy can help me. Now this guy is going against me. I'm going to kick him out. But maybe now, or maybe at the first opportunity I get. This is how the governors acted. Okay. Normally you listen to a person who's having more power than you, right? That's normal. Appointment of the unofficial people based on communities, Pute, it can be the start of racism. Yes. This is what the British government did. Okay. They did something called the divide and rule method. Divide and rule. I told you about 1915 riots last week, right? You remember? 1915, what happened in 1915, we discussed, right, in detail. How Ponnambalam Ramanathan came to the rescue of the Buddhist people, especially, and he spoke. Yeah, you remember, right? Everybody? Were you there in the class?
Yes, sir.
See how the British acted, okay? We can say the British government was an oppressive government. This is how it worked. When the Sinhala people, when the Sinhala Muslim riots started, Sinhala people and Muslim people started fighting each other, okay, on the streets. What the British government did, okay, the British government declared martial law. Okay, before that, the British government did something like this. They took the side of the Muslims. Okay, see what happens. All right, the British government said, we are with the Muslims. Okay, the Sinhala people are at fault because you guys are large in numbers. You guys have to be more responsible, and you guys have done a wrong thing, and then basically we're going to declare martial law. All right, this is the motive behind it. Okay, listen to this very carefully. Divide and rule is that, okay, you take the side of one faction. You don't be impartial or you don't be unbiased. The British government can do like this. Okay, come, representatives from the Sinhala community come, representatives from the Muslim community come. Yeah, what's your problem? We'll solve it. Yes, it has to be like this. Okay, no harm, no, nothing should happen like this before. Okay, through discussions they could have solved this. but they let the problem grow. They let people fight, and they took the side of the minority. They should have been impartial, they should have been unbiased, but they took the side of the minority. Then what happens? When you take the side of a minority, the majority gets infuriated. They become very angry. Then the Buddhist people, the Sinhala people, got really angry. These people, how they can take the side of the Muslim? This is very unfair, right? You get angry, right? Then you start doing wrong things, right? Then the British government sees it, right? Then they start attacking you with brute force. These people started something, okay, shoot them in the heads. That is how the governments will use divide and rule. They will first take a side. They will get other people to do wrong things, maybe harm public property and these things, and they will unleash their oppression on the whole population. That's what the British government did. They took the side of the Muslims. They waited for, then they know the Sinhala people will become really angry because they took the side of the minority. No, that's a well-planned act. They took the side of the minority, let the Sinhala people come out with anger and do something wrong. When they did the first wrong thing, they declared martial law, kill everybody. You can kill everybody. Like that, 160, 170 people were killed. Innocent people were killed, who were living outside, who were sleeping outside the houses, normally. Yeah, there are houses like this those days. It's a very good thing that you asked, that we need to know these things, when you are living. So the house is like this, Pute. Now there's something called the pillar, right? The corridor, the small veranda-like thing, this outside. So there's normally a bed here. Okay, so wife will be sleeping inside. Then the husband has an argument or something with the wife, he'll be kicked out. So the husband will normally sleep here because the wind, the fresh air and everything. Normally it's like that. Normally you have the lunch in the daytime, and not because your wife kicked you out, but normally after a lunch or something, they will be relaxing and having a nap in the outside, right? So the British government said martial law. If anybody is staying outside, shoot them. Shoot at sight. That is called martial law. Okay. Dututana Veditabana. Dututana Veditabana means martial law. So the army is going now. The British army is going. Okay, they saw this man sleeping outside. He's outside. They'll kill him. Right. The innocent Sinhala people were killed like that. Okay. Because the British took the side, got the people to do something wrong, and then they wanted to do this. They wanted to oppress or suppress the National Renaissance movement also. So they used that as a pretext to unleash hell on the innocent people of this country. Okay, that's right. Sanshodhana means reform. Yeah, amendment. Yeah. Venas karna kya hai? Sanshodhana karna kya hai? Amendment. Okay, amending something. Yeah. So that is how the oppressive governments can act on people. They first gets the people to do something wrong, and basically they use it as a pretext to unleash hell on the other innocent people also. They declare curfew, they declare martial law, they kill protesters. This is what happens. Okay. All right. I think that's a good point about Coldbrook Reforms. A little more about it, like, divide and rule method, a little more about that for you understand. Okay. So what happens now when they appointed single person separately, like, okay, Sinhala person, your duty is to take care of the Sinhala people. Tamil representative here, your duty is to take care of the Tamil people. Don't worry about the other people. Okay, like that. Then divide and rule, right? Then the British know they will never unite. Right? Sinhala, Tamil, Burger, everybody will be going separately. They'll be taking care of their people, not coming together. They wanted that. They were scared of that. They were scared that people from different communities will come together and push for independence, and they were really scared of that. So that's why they try to divide people based on communities and appoint to councils like the legislative councils. Okay, this is the start of many problems. Okay, this continued actually. This is called the communal representative system, representing based on communities. So this continued, Pute. It's continued to happen even under Crew-McCallum Constitution also. Crew-McCallum Constitution also. So, but anyway, this was abolished after that. We won the, we won the franchise or the election rights after Crew-McCallum Constitution. So we'll learn about that next week. Okay, we'll learn about the Crew-McCallum Constitution next week. Yeah, and we can finish a big part of this lesson next week. Okay. Yeah. Any questions from this one, from this part? I think, yeah, no need to overload ourselves. So right now we are at a good pace. Okay, going on a good pace. Ravindu, all okay now? Sansodhana means amendment. Okay. Daham, you got it?
Yes, sir.
Same like the British, our government, our president is also the same by dividing and trying to oppress the people. Yeah, you got my idea, right? I was trying to tell you that, so you got it. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you see these things, there's something called history repeats. No, Pute? So any oppressive government, they will use these tactics. Okay. So what they will do when there's a protest going on, they will send somebody, okay, set fire to a bus, for example. All right, then they will use that as a pretext. Okay, public property was harmed, and okay, right, we had to shoot these people and they died. And then all the other people, what will happen? Okay, I'm not going to a protest because they will shoot the protesters, right? Now now everyone is scared to go and protest. Protesting is your right, your basic human right, freedom of speech, that's called. It's a fundamental human right. Okay, protesting, the right to protest, it's guaranteed in the constitution, it's guaranteed in the basic law of the country. You can peacefully protest. Doesn't mean that you can set buses on fire, block the roads and these things. No, you can't basically do any act that harms the general public or the normal lifestyle of people. No, but you can protest peacefully in the sense, you can shout, okay, no problem, you can shout, you can scold, it doesn't matter, right? But peacefully means you can't be violent, you can't harm anybody. Any act that you do which will harm somebody has to be rejected. Okay, for example, let's say harming the road, damaging the road, for example, by setting tires on fire and these things, this is not good, right? This is wrong. Why? Because what happens when you do that? The road will get damaged. Now, who's repairing the road? The government will do that with our money, with our own money. People's money will be used again to repair those roads. So again, people are on the losing side. So because of that, we should not harm the public property. Public properties are basically everybody's property. So if you damage public property, the government will repair those using public money. That is your money, my money, right? That is why people have to be responsible. Okay. Martial law is not functioning at present, but martial law is there. Any government can declare martial law if the need arises. Okay, it's there, but normally martial law means it's a very simple thing. You have the constitution. The constitution means the basic law of the country. Right now, the constitution in Sri Lanka is the 1978 constitution, which was introduced by J.R. Jayawardena. Under 1978 constitution, we have this executive presidency that is functioning now. What you do under martial law is basically you take the constitution and put it aside. You tell this constitution is not valid now, and you call the military, please come, take control of the country, you do whatever you want. No law now. The military law, that's called the martial law. Okay, so the military will decide what to do. Military will say, okay, the army commander now is in charge. Okay, no politicians are in charge, because politicians are working under the constitution. Politicians have sworn under the constitution. So now no politicians have power. No constitution is in effect. Military is in control. Normally, we declare martial law when there's a situation that cannot be controlled in a country. For example, Ukraine declared martial law recently because with the Russian invasion, Ukraine can't face it. So Russia is already inside the country, Russian forces. So we hand over the country to the military. It's your duty, dear military, it's your duty to protect the country now. We are going. Who said? The Ukraine president said, we are declaring martial law or curfew or some military curfew is different. Martial law, yeah, martial law. So martial law declaration of martial law means military is in control. So what the military will do? Military can do basically anything. Okay, military law means you won't be arrested, and if they want to arrest you, they will. But there's no court proceedings or court hearings or something like that. If they feel like you are a threat, they'll shoot you. Normally, martial law declares like when martial law is in effect, people will say, the army will say, stay inside the houses. Do not come out of the houses. Okay, that's normal in a martial law situation. If you come out, if we suspect that you are a terrorist or you are a rebel or somebody, will kill you. Just suspicion is enough. They will decide what to do on the streets. Okay, they won't arrest you, come here, why did you come out, and that and blah blah blah. No time for those. Okay, they will just do whatever it takes so that they can get rid of you. Okay. When the people play the fool during the protest, can the police kick them? They can arrest, no? Yes. If the people are harming public property, the police has the power to arrest them. But as long as the protest is peaceful, the police has to protect them or basically provide security to the people. It's the duty of the police to protect, basically protect law and order or maintain law and order. Okay. Nitiyaha Same Arakshak is the main duty of the police. So the police has to provide security to any protest that's going on, basically, so that it doesn't turn violent or people in that protest are basically safe. Okay, it's the duty of the police. Yeah. If the people didn't do anything wrong, the police doesn't have the authority to kick them or disperse them or anything like that. If the people did something wrong, they have the power to take actions against them. Sharp spiked blockers, yes, that is a very unethical practice. This hasn't happened in the spiked blocks, roadblocks, no, the spiked ones. This is actually, I mean, with the pretext of harming the people, injuring the protesters. It's a very cheap act, right? To be honest, it's a hari bala vadak, that's nowhere in the history. It's a big. I mean, my father also worked in the police, so I find it really disgusting, to tell that even my grandfather, if he was there, he will be very, very disappointed with things like this. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll continue with Crewe McCallum Constitution next week. If you have any questions, please ask for them. I believe everybody understood the logic behind the Executive and Legislative Council. So if we ask you to write 3 recommendations of Coldbrook Commission, can you do that? I believe everybody can do that, right? Okay. And if somebody asks you to explain these things, establishment of Executive and Legislative Council, these things, you can do that, right? Yes. Dividing the country into 5 provinces, somebody asks you to write, briefly explain that, you can do. Yes? Can you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll learn more about this next week. Okay, we'll start with Crewe McCallum Constitution. Here, I didn't write a lot of notes on these things. I explained this one in detail, but these things I spoke to you. I believe you can just gather your ideas and write about these things if required. Okay, I believe that's not a big deal. I will see you next week then. Take care. God bless you all. Stay safe. Have a good night today. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
See you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
See you. Bye.